Hey, Paul, good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, of course, of course. Tell us about your one man show, how the concept came about, and how the development process went.
Sure. I just want to explain real quick, in case there's any lag or anything like that. I am in China. I have the VPN on, so I do apologize ahead of time if there's any issues. But I decided. I guess I really started backing up a few years with I had cancer. You know, told I had cancer, and that kind of drove a really kind of a change in how I perceived my remaining years on this planet. And I decided that it was about time um, that I stopped waiting for things, that I just needed to go out and do them, creating a bucket list and going. So I went from just waiting for things to happen to being very proactive and embracing those things that fear me most. So that was kind of been my attitude since that occurred. And one of those things was, the Edinburgh Fringe. Edinburgh is the world's largest fringe show. The whole idea of a fringe festival started in Edinburgh, I think 1947. It's been going on for a long time. It's the largest one. I went there in August of this year, and my gosh, it is just amazing. So many people from all over the world coming to this little beautiful town, but this little town in northern, in Scotland, and so. There's so many shows and so much creativity and so much diversity going on there. It's just amazing. But I was there, and I said, I will be here next year with a show of my own. At that time, I had written a play. It was a two-person play, father, son. Still want to do it someday, but it didn't, even though, I would love to do it at the A Fringe Festival in the future. It wasn't right for me for touring, because I wanted to back up and do Adelaide, because what happens in Edinburgh, if you're just brand new and nobody knows who you are, nobody knows the show, they're not as likely to come see it. So, but by going, there were people there from the Adelaide Fringe as well, and so that was an opportunity dawning on me that, well, if I start in Adelaide, then I can kind of build my momentum, get previews, get some momentum going and some recognition, so that when I hit Edinburgh in August of 2026, I'll be a known factor. And hopefully people will like my show and like me, and want to come see. So that's where that all started. But it wasn't until August of the year I had created a an idea for another playwriting competition. That it was a one-man show about an older Shakespearean actor who comes to the stage and thinks, because he's dealing with early dementia, he thinks that he has an audition for King Lear. And this is to keep, his daughter wants to put him into assisted living, and the whole story unfolds from there. But I hadn't written the show yet, so I started writing. And now I'm now here. We are, I think we're a month from, or a little over a month from opening up in, I think, a month and a half to the Adelaide Fringe. And I have some preview performances before that in Beijing. And yeah, so of course now the play is written. We're well into rehearsals, and things are going really strong. It, just the whole idea is like, I'm, 65 years old, writing a new show. I've never been in a solo show before. I've been, lead roles in productions before, but I've never been the only person on stage for the whole time. I've never done a fringe show. I've never done a world tour. All of this I'm figuring out as I go along, and it scares the crap out of me. But like I said, I'm embracing I'm embracing that. So
Well, it's
here
a
I
fun
am.
little adventure.
Yeah.
I had have never heard of the Fringe before. Could you paint us a picture of what that festival is like? Like,
Mm.
how many venues are there? How many people are going to the shows? Like, is it
Yeah.
outdoors, indoors? Like, what's that whole scene like?
Well, the Edinburgh Fringe is so it started in 1947. They had like post World War II. They decided they were going to have like kind of an international festival in Edinburgh, and so they invited different productions to come and perform at this international festival. Well, there were certain people that weren't invited, and they were upset that it was, so we're going to come anyway, and we are going to perform on the fringes of this international festival. And the first year, there was like a handful of people that did that. Now, so this developed, the moniker came years later when somebody called it the Fringe Festival because it was on the fringes. It makes sense, but it developed from there to what it is today. So I think in 2025, there were about 4,000 shows, and they perform. I mean, it's not like going to going to a Broadway play. You're going to go see, and they have the stages set up, and they're all but they have one or maybe two performances a day on that one set. Well, here they have different venues, and it could be anything. It could be I mean they do cabaret, they do circus, they do stand-up comedy. I mean, anything that you could imagine they do here at the Fringe, and any type of space. So all of these spaces are being utilized. So my show is an hour, and as soon as the other show that's before mine is done, boom, the audience is gone. Everything, they break down the set, and of course the less the better, and and then they're gone, and then I move into the space, and then my audience comes in, and we do the show, and then we're gone. And it's just like that all day long. I think the earliest show's right around 10 a.m. And the last one for the day might be, 2, 3, 4 a.m. So it just goes. So over this period of time that the Edinburgh Fringe, there's 4,000 shows. And I don't know how many, I mean, like millions of tickets are sold. There's people that are coming from all over the world to experience this city. And there's other festivals going on at the same time. There's like a book festival, there's a film festival, and there's the international festival that started this whole thing. That's still going on as well. So there's many things going on. Plus there's the tattoo, which is a military spectacle done there at the castle in Edinburgh, which is just phenomenal. It's so beautiful. So there's many things going on at the Edinburgh Fringe. Now the Adelaide Fringe is number 2, and that one in 2025 had about over 1,500 shows. So it's a little less than half the size of Edinburgh, and it's the second largest one. Now there's over 300 Fringe festivals worldwide. So there's quite a few of them all over. I mean, now, many of them are much smaller, so yeah, it should be interesting. And then I go to a Fringe festival in New York City, which I think is, it's going to be much smaller than either one of those two. So yeah, I mean, I'm learning this as I go, making it up as I go along. So yeah, it should be exciting. But did I answer your question there?
Yeah, you did. As an actor, primarily what you do is you receive a script, you study it, and then get into your performance. How was it like this time being on the writing side, and had you done any writing before? What was different about that process? I mean, how did you get into the mindset of the character and the arcs? Like, how did all that unfold?
Well, I mean, I've always loved story, and I've always thought to myself, it's like, well, I love, I read books, watching film, TV, as an actor, I'm steeped in story. I love it. But, writing was another one of those things where it's hard to believe that you're going to be able to put pen to paper and make this thing happen. But as an actor, creating your own material is really an amazing experience. And of course, if you're writing something for yourself, then, it's the best way to create material. Like, number one thing as an actor, you have to have an actor reel. And well, it's really hard when you're just starting out and you just don't have anything. You don't have any credits. And if you are in a movie or a TV show, it's usually a blip. And I can't put that on my reel. It's not really, substantive. But if you create material for yourself and you get your friends together and you get a camera, even your phone, and create something, so write it, direct it, produce it, and edit it, just make it happen. Now you've got something that you can show to an agent or to a casting person and say, this is me, and this is what I can do. So kind of born out of that, I wrote, here in China, there's now we have these vertical dramas, which are like basically on your phone. So they're vertical as opposed to, a typical film. So the films are being shot so that people can watch them on their phone. They're like 1 minute long. And then of course it's, the first few are free. And then after that, it's pay to play to watch the rest of the thing. So the idea is to get you hooked so you can, so these are like all the rage here in China. Great opportunity as an actor to get in front of the camera and do these things. But the stories are very melodramatic and the characters are very over the top and not something that I really want to do as an actor. I'll do it for the money, but, not for my heart kind of thing. So I wrote a short film, and I showed it to some people that I know in Beijing that are into making film, and they really liked it. And so we ended up filming this project. It's now in the film festival circuit. But, so that was exciting to think. I didn't know that I could do that. And of course, I wrote it with a part in it for me. So I gave it to somebody else so that they directed it. But I was the writer and the actor, and I also got an executive producer credit because I helped pay for the thing. But so we did this experiment, and that was really exciting. Then after that, I wrote a short play, and that just kind of buoyed my confidence. And now I'm the 60-minute stage play, and it's just story is there's a lot of story arc lessons you can learn about how to craft the story so that it's it goes back to the whole mythology of how we take in story and how the story mounts, and there's the bad guys, and I don't have all the phraseology in my head, but but it's just what we expect when we see a story, whether it's Star Wars or Avatar or Love Actually or something. They're all basically the same kind of pattern. So but the beautiful thing, as an actor, as a writer, as anything in life, is giving yourself permission to fail. The famous quote from Einstein is he failed thousands of times before he got the right combination to make the light bulb glow. But in his mind, I can't even paraphrase the quote, but some people will see that as failure. He looking at the times he failed, and he's just looking at the one time that he succeeded. And so every time you fail, what doesn't work. So it's a positive thing. It's great. It's information that I can use to move on and get closer to succeeding. So failure is a necessary part of the process. And if you look at it that way, then you embrace failure as opposed to fear the failure. And it's like, great. It means that you're trying. It means that you're out there doing something.
So how have rehearsals been going? And are you working with, I know you're working with a director, right? Like,
yeah.
Is that kind of your person who's helping you craft your performance and giving you maybe little tiny notes here and there, like, hey, I really like this. Maybe we could try this here. Like, how's that whole creative process going for you?
So David St. John is my director. He's somebody that lives in Beijing. He's got an incredible eye, and I trust him explicitly. Again, I am, as an actor, you can't see yourself. Even a film actor. I mean, if you're gonna, I mean, you could, I've seen this before where people are like, they'll do a setup in the film and then they'll go look at the monitor and see the playback. And so, yeah, you can kind of see that, but it's not always, as a stage actor, you can't even do that. And so, so for me, I put my trust in my director to be able to be objective and see what I can't see. Many of us actors act intuitively, and we kind of feel what is right and what doesn't feel right. Sometimes I agree with my director, and sometimes sometimes I'm like, no, I can't do it that way. And other times it's like, well, let's play with it. Let's see what, we'll do it this way, and then we'll do it that way, and we'll see what works best. But I could not do this without his direction. And so I really appreciate his eye in seeing this. So yeah, so it's a process. It's a matter of trust, in him and his objectivity. This play is very much the audience kind of become, I mean, it's not interactive at all, but when you're interacting with your audience, the audience becomes another character. And so that's the exciting part, is that even though we're going to be mounting this and getting it out there, it really doesn't, the whole rehearsal process doesn't happen or doesn't finish until you get in front of an audience. But the audience is going to change every night. So there's the character of the piece is going to, be different. It'll be different every night. So that's an exciting part, but also very scary. I was like, I hope it all goes well. Yeah. So
for you, what's been the most enjoyable part of this whole process so far?
I'm learning. I'm a lifelong learner and love, even though, everything's, about this whole thing. Just when I say world tour, I mean, it's just an incredible amount of responsibility of feeling like I'm having, delivering something that I wrote, that I'm acting in, and justify the cost of the ticket to somebody in Adelaide or wherever I go, that responsibility of doing that. But I'm doing so many things that are new. I mean, I am doing my own publicity. Because I can't afford a public relations person. I'm, doing my own social media because I can't afford. I mean, it's a very costly venture. And I have no idea what the ticket sales are going to do. And it's the ticket sales. Oftentimes, actors taking these plays are not looking to make money. They're looking to break even. So, and right now, I think with the costs, for me, I've got, transportation costs, accommodation, paying for the venue, and then of course, food while I'm there, and just all of those things. And then, the cost of, putting the play together and all these, costs that I'm bearing now, I figure I'm going to be at least $10,000 On a conservative basis, if I look at the ticket sales conservatively, what I could expect, I'm looking at losing $10,000 in Adelaide only, not considering New York and Edinburgh. So, I'm working my butt off to make sure that I go beyond what the conservative expectations are concerning ticket sales so that I can hopefully get to that point where I can break even. I don't have any merchandise. I don't have a book to sell. I don't have anything else but myself and the tickets. So the only way for me to earn some of that money back and hopefully, get to the point where I break even is ticket sales. So, but what I'm trying to do is look at this as kind of a long-term project, is that I'm going to, I'm going to meet a lot of people, a lot of, producers and different people in the industry. But what I'm really excited about is meeting the people. Here in Beijing, we're doing, because we're doing like a Q&A after each. We're doing a couple previews before we go to Adelaide, just so I've done the show in front of an audience before I go there. But we're doing a Q&A, kind of an actor talk back with the audience. And I'm excited about that because I'm excited to hear what people have to say about it with their experiences of dementia, or talking about Shakespeare, or talking about, what writing, or, anything. I'm excited about that possibility. In Adelaide, because of the way the shows move in and out, there's not that possibility. But there's, possibility like, hey, let's meet after the show. We'll have a coffee or a drink. Just the ability to be able to talk to the people that have taken their chance, with their money to come and see a show that they don't know anything about. And so, great, let's go talk about that. There's so many people out there that are dealing with dementia tangentially or directly, with their loved ones, or with people that they know with their loved ones. So I want to hear those stories. I want to hear it all. So that's exciting. And I'm rambling on here. I totally forget what the question is. I hope I answered it.
I just asked what's the most enjoyable part of the process.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's so many so many things that I'm enjoying about the process.
Yeah. I love that. One of the challenges, I'm just putting myself in your position here, is like when you're on stage by yourself, like there's nowhere else attention can be deflected to, right? Like there's there's that scuffle taking place on that side of the stage with that group of actors, or, that interaction over there. And you can kind of sit in cruise control for a little bit. Here, when the attention's all directed on you, like the level of concentration that you're going to draw from is super, super high. And how's that like? Like, have you ever done like a one-person show before? What's this experience been like, just being like the only person on stage?
Well, the most recent experience I had, was Scrooge, and you mentioned having the limelight go elsewhere. Scrooge is on stage from the beginning of the play all the way to the end. There's not a moment that he's not on stage, but often there's other characters that are bearing the weight of line. I mean, Scrooge has a lot of lines, but there's other people that are talking, the Cratchit's family, and yada yada yada. But this show, The Last Audition, it's all on me. Now there is some voiceover. There's some, you will hear my daughter on the phone. We'll hear the stage manager speaking from elsewhere in the building through an announcement, and then we'll hear some other voices, some negative voices that are coming from his past, kind of in his mind. And then we hear a voice of his deceased wife as a calming influence. So there's other, these are very short and strategic throughout the show, but at least it's not 100% him. But yeah, you're right. The focus is on Sebastian Drake is the name of the character. And it is, I expect that it's going to, because it is a very emotional play. Every time I do this. I'm crying at the end. It's very emotional, but I expect to be just totally exhausted at the end of the play, just from the performance. And then what happens too, because of the practicality of selling tickets, is you at the Fringe. I learned this when I was in Edinburgh, and it's still the same thing in Adelaide. You go out and you do something called flyering. So you have these flyers, and you talk to people that are gathering, trying to decide what show they want to do, and you talk to them about your show. And you do that 2-3 hours, a day. So you're not only doing your show, but you're using your voice, you're using your energy to do that. So I have to be very careful with my energy, with my voice, because the show is the thing that's important, but it's also important to get people into the theater. So I'm excited about having that opportunity to talk to people about the show, but it's going to be another potential, because I have heard of people that have gone out and done this, and now they're exhausted, or they've lost their voice. They can't do the show because, or they can't do it well because they've left it all out on the street. So I'm going to have to be very careful. It's like I have run marathons. It's a bit like preparing for an Olympic event. I feel in some ways, especially as somebody who's in their 60s, being prepared physically, mentally, working on my voice apparatus, which we do as actors anyway, but just really making sure that everything's topped up, exercising, health, eating well, all of that. I have to be in top form in order to portray somebody who's, declining, mentally. But I hope that all of that preparation pays off with a show that just tears you apart in a good way,
How familiar were you with dementia before writing this whole play? How much research did you have to do? What kind of research did you do, if any, on dementia, when writing this play?
Yeah, I learned a lot during this play. I was not an expert at all, learning that dementia is basically the umbrella term, and that, something like Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. So, but two things. My father and my grandfather had dealt with some memory issues, but I don't think dementia was ever even mentioned in those cases. It was just something, that they were dealing with, forgetfulness, maybe falling down, different things that happen, a lot of things that you could just, it's like, oh, well, they're getting old. But a friend of mine in England is dealing with her mother who has Alzheimer's, and seeing that firsthand really was an eye-opener to just how sad it can be, not only for the person going through it, but especially for the caregivers, the people, many, there's a term they used, I'd never heard of it, become a triple decker, where basically the mother who has children, she's taking care of the children, but now has to take care of the father, the mother. And so the caregivers are often taking care of many people, but we don't see it. The focus is on the individual, on the person going through, which is terrible. But but also the caregivers just kind of are the unsung heroes. God bless them. Them. For all they do. But seeing her mom going through Alzheimer's and having memory issues. This is somebody who not too long ago, we sat down and had a lovely conversation. And now, thankfully she remembers who I am, but my friend warned me that she might be asking you the same question over and over. And sure enough, you should look at me in the eye and ask me this question. Like, she really wanted to know and wanted to talk. We talked about it. And 10 minutes later, she asked me the same question. Like she'd never done it before. And it's just really sad, sad for the caregiver, sad for the person going through it. And her mom lives at home, excuse me, lives at home. And that's, my wife, her father is going through it's really interesting and she wants to put him, at least sometimes when we're traveling, put him in a kind of assisted living. He doesn't want to have anything to do with that. And I think that that's very typical that you're at home, you're comfortable at home, your home is familiar to you. Then to have to go somewhere else is just heart-wrenching. Just, for you to have to do that and for them to have to go through it. I haven't done, I've done some research since I've been writing it, especially with, what are the signs of early dementia? There's actually, the statistic is something like, I'm not sure what the US one, but worldwide, the dementia numbers are expected to double in like 20, 25 years. And, so it's something definitely to be concerned about. And there's, that was one reason why I came here to China, was to learn another language, thinking that, I've heard that learning another language is a great way to stave off any effects of early dementia. But keeping your mind active is always a good thing.
How's your Chinese coming along?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How's your Chinese coming along?
一点点.
Little by little.
一点点. It's my wife is Chinese and she speaks a little bit of English and I speak a little bit of Chinese, and so we're kind of forced to speak Chinese around the house, but it's always really simple Chinese. So if I was less focused on this project, it's like I need to sit down and do more, Chinese study. Chinese is a hard language to master, but I'm surrounded by it here, so I should take advantage more so of learning. But sometimes I end up saying this whole sentence or whole question, and I don't know where it comes. I'm just putting together the words that I know, and I'm like, wow, I just spoke Chinese. That's so
great.
Yeah.
Now, your show, will you be taping any of the performances and putting it available online?
That's an interesting question. In New York City, there provide an opportunity to actually do a live stream of the show. There's like an online option where you can buy a ticket to watch it online. So I won't be putting there will be that option in New York City. That's in April, and they have that option to do so. Watching it online, watching a stage play. I mean, I have the National Theatre in the United Kingdom. They have a National Theatre at home, and I subscribe to that. And I love watching the plays there because, that's the only way to do it. Because I'm not in the UK. But it's still not the same. It's not the same as being there in person to watch the show, but better than nothing. But that will be an opportunity to watch that. Now, I will be filming segments of the show so that I can put together a higher quality kind of a teaser reel kind of thing mostly for media and to get people excited about seeing the show. But since I have a short one up on my website, but that was put together from material that we did in a rehearsal. So it's not as polished and in the final stages of the actual thing. But when we get to stage and are doing it with an audience, we will be putting together another video in time for that. But it will just be a short teaser reel, not the whole thing.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, how can people find out more about you and more about the show? Where can they go?
Well, I have, as I mentioned the website. So my last name is Shearman, Shearman. My website, my actor website is paulshearman.com. And then the last audition. So either look for the tab on that website that says Last Audition, or just do /TLA, and you get to the website that is designed for this show. It talks about me, but it also talks about the show, and then there's opportunity for the tickets, like where I'm going and that sort of thing. I do hope that this tour, which is Adelaide, New York, and Edinburgh, is expanded in 2027. That in 2027, with the opportunities, the people that I meet this year, that I'm able to then expand the tour for 2027, and we go to more places and just have a bigger, a longer tour there. So who knows? Maybe I'll be doing this in 2027 as well.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to that, Paul. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I'm looking forward to your work and looking forward to your future work.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate getting to know you better and meeting you there in my old beating ground in Atlanta. So yeah, I love it. So all the best to you, sir.
Thanks, Paul.